You were lied to. Every single week you sat in front of that screen, watched the chaos unfold, watched Logan Paul get ambushed, watched that masked figure disappear into the shadows like a ghost, and WWE wanted you to believe it was random. Wanted you to believe it was unpredictable. Wanted you to believe that nobody knew anything and that the mystery was still alive and still unsolved. It was never random. It was never unpredictable. And somebody knew exactly what was happening from the very first attack. Logan Paul just pulled the mask off. Not the attacker's mask, the mask covering the entire operation. The carefully constructed, methodically executed, deeply personal master plan that has been running in the background of Raw for longer than anyone realized. And the name sitting at the center of it, the architect, the puppeteer, the person who looked Logan Paul in the eye, smiled, shook his hand, and then sent someone to destroy him, is a name that is going to make your jaw hit the floor and your blood pressure spike simultaneously. Because this was not a stranger. This was not some outside threat that wandered into Logan's orbit by accident. This was someone close, someone trusted, someone who understood exactly how Logan Paul operates, exactly what makes him vulnerable, and exactly how to hurt him in a way that would be maximally devastating both physically and psychologically. And Logan Paul found out. And now the entire WWE universe is about to find out too. And nothing on Raw is going to look the same after this. Before we rip every layer of this apart, and there are many layers, if you are not subscribed to Ring Rumble 1 yet, you are actively choosing to be behind on the most important wrestling conversations happening right now. Hit that subscribe button immediately and smash that notification bell for all notifications because we do not do surface level here. We do not repeat the company line. We go deeper, we go harder, and we give you the real breakdown that everyone else is too careful to deliver. This channel exists for fans who want the truth, not the talking points. Subscribe, bell, all notifications, right now. And then let's get into this because this story is bigger than you think. Let's start from the beginning. Because to truly understand the magnitude of what Logan Paul just exposed, you have to go back to where this all started, and you have to look at it with fresh eyes now that the master plan has been revealed. The first attack felt isolated. That was intentional. Whoever architected this operation is not an amateur, and they understood that a single, contained incident would be written off as a random act of aggression. WWE has those all the time. A rival makes a statement. A newcomer tries to make a name. Someone settles a score. The audience processes it, files it away, moves on to the next segment. That was the plan. Make it look ordinary. Make it look like just another act of violence in a world full of violence. Keep the fingerprints invisible. Keep the real motive buried under layers of misdirection while the actual objective quietly, steadily advanced in the background. But here is where the architect made their first miscalculation. Logan Paul is not ordinary. Whatever you think about him, whatever your feelings are about his presence in WWE, whatever debates you want to have about whether he deserves his spot on that roster, the man is not stupid. He is a content creator, a businessman, a strategist who has spent his entire career reading environments, reading people, and turning information into leverage. His entire public life has been built on understanding how games are played and then playing them better than the people who invented the rules. So while WWE's creative structure and the broader audience were processing each attack as an isolated incident, Logan Paul was doing something different. He was connecting. He was building a picture. Targeting tells you that. Every single strike, every ambush, every carefully chosen moment of chaos was designed to do maximum damage to Logan Paul's momentum, his confidence, and his standing on Raw, without ever creating a clean, direct line back to the person giving the orders. That requires rehearsal. That requires communication. That requires a level of trust between the attacker and the architect that goes beyond a simple transaction. This person believed in the mission. This person had their own reasons for wanting Logan Paul vulnerable and off balance. And those personal reasons, that genuine investment in the outcome, is what made them so effective and so difficult to identify. Because they were not just following orders. They were executing a shared vision. And shared visions are far more dangerous than paid mercenaries, because mercenaries can be bought off and turned. True believers cannot. So who is the architect? Who sent the masked attacker? Who built the master plan that Logan Paul just exposed on Raw? Let's follow the logic, because the answer has been hiding in plain sight and the clues were there for anyone patient enough to look. First, access. Whoever orchestrated this needed detailed, current, insider access to Logan Paul's schedule, his mindset, his relationships within the WWE locker room, and the specific pressure points that would make him most vulnerable to psychological warfare alongside the physical attacks. That level of access does not come from observation. It comes from proximity. It comes from having been trusted enough, for long enough, to accumulate that kind of intelligence without raising suspicion. Second, motive. Random aggression has no architecture. What happened to Logan Paul on Raw was architectural. Every piece served a purpose. Every attack advanced an agenda. To build an agenda that elaborate, that patient, that multi-layered, you need a reason that goes deeper than professional rivalry. You need something personal. Something that has been sitting and fermenting and growing quietly in the background while the public face of a relationship looked completely different. Third, capability. Sending a masked attacker onto Raw, coordinating the timing, maintaining the secrecy, managing the operational details of an extended campaign against one of WWE's most high-profile names. That requires resources, influence, and a working knowledge of how that environment operates. This was not done from outside the building. This was done by someone who belongs in that building. Someone who knows where the cameras are. Someone who knows the schedule. Someone who knows the blind spots. Put those three things together, access, motive, capability, and the list of people who could have done this gets very short, very quickly. And when Logan Paul named the name, when he stood in that ring or that backstage corridor and pointed the finger with the kind of certainty that only comes from having done the actual investigative work, the reaction in that arena told you everything you needed to know about how significant this revelation truly was. The silence, then the noise. Then the kind of sustained, electric, disbelieving energy that only genuine shock produces in a live wrestling crowd. It's not how people who build masterplans operate. The exposure of the plan does not end the plan, it accelerates it. It forces a shift from the patient, shadow-based strategy that had been working so effectively into something more aggressive, more direct, and considerably more dangerous. Logan Paul just made himself the most important target on Raw. Not because he is the most powerful person on that show, but because he is now the person who holds the most damaging information, who has demonstrated the willingness to go public with it, and who has the platform and the personality to make sure the entire world is paying attention when he does. That combination terrifies people with secrets. And the person behind that masked attacker has a lot of secrets that are now desperately at risk. Let's also acknowledge the broader impact of this revelation on the Raw locker room. Because Logan Paul is not the only person affected by what just got exposed. Every superstar backstage is now doing the same mental calculation. They are going back through their interactions with the architect. They are replaying conversations, re-examining moments that seemed innocent at the time, asking themselves whether they were used, whether they were manipulated, whether information they shared in what they believed was confidence was actually being harvested and weaponized. That kind of paranoia does not stay contained. It spreads. It poisons relationships. It makes alliances fragile and trust nearly impossible. And when trust breaks down in a locker room already full of competitive, ambitious, physically dangerous people, the environment becomes genuinely volatile in ways that extend far beyond one storyline, one rivalry, one masterplan. The architect did not just come after Logan Paul. In exposing what they were willing to do, they destabilized an entire ecosystem. And now that ecosystem is aware. And it is angry. And it is looking for someone to hold accountable. Logan Paul finding out who sent the masked attacker on Raw is not a resolution. It is a detonation. The master plan is exposed. The architect is identified. The masked attacker's purpose has been laid bare for the entire WWE universe to process and react to. And what comes next? The confrontation, the fallout, the desperate escalation from the person whose carefully constructed operation just got burned to the ground, is going to be some of the most compelling television Raw has produced in years. Logan Paul walked into this situation as a target. He is walking out of it as the most dangerous man on that show. And the person who thought they could destroy him from the shadows just made the worst mistake of their career. Drop your reaction in the comments right now. Did you see this coming? Do you think Logan Paul can survive what comes next? And most importantly, do you think the architect is done, or is the real Masterplan still just getting started? Share this video everywhere. Send it to every WWE fan you know. Tag someone who needs to see this breakdown. Because Ring Rumble 1 is where the real story gets told, and this story is only getting started.